And that's the perfect way to intro this show.
That's
Hello,
right.
everybody. Welcome into the Mountaineers Now post-game show presented by Country Roads Air Duct Cleaning. Take me home to comfort. And boy, oh boy, Gene, this was an up and down type of game. It was kind of a back and forth affair there for a little bit. It felt like West Virginia had all the momentum. Baylor stormed back, had a strong second half for West Virginia to pull it out in the end, 34-31. Before we dive into our analysis, take a look here at the numbers in this one. Garrett Greene, 16 of 25 for 269 yards and 2 touchdowns. Of course, he engineered that game-winning drive there toward the end with the touchdown pass to Jaheim White, giving the Mountaineers the late lead. Jaheim White also goes for 133 yards on the ground on 17 carries. Greene adds 103 and 2 scores with his legs. And Hudson Clement, the leading receiver for West Virginia, 4 receptions for 80 yards. And the team stats, West Virginia, again, dominated the first half, 519 to 334 in total yardage, much of which was attributed to the 2 kickoff returns that Richard Reese had there in the first half. So, Gene, let's just start with the initial thoughts on this one. It felt like this was a game that West Virginia had well in hand, felt like they were really up 27-0 if you take away the 2 kickoff returns. And you just, even though they were only up 2 scores, you kind of felt good about where they were at the half. And then the third quarter happened.
Let me tell you something, Skylar. I'm at my family's house, and all Mountaineer fans, and we're watching this game, and I didn't know what to think. Let me be honest. I didn't know what to think. After the 2 kickoff returns for touchdown with Reese, I was somewhat troubled that we allowed a 3-8 team to be in the game with us when they had no business being on the field with us. I mean, that's just my initial thoughts. I'm just being completely honest. As the game started going on, I'm this way about it. Look, you can't let a poor team hang around and stay in the game with you because they built momentum and they built confidence. And I felt like that's what we were allowing to happen. Obviously, I'm glad we pulled it out. Don't get me wrong. But the mark of a well-coached football team and the mark of a good team, you go in and you squash these type of teams immediately, efficiently, and you beat them up in all 3 phases of the game. When you don't do that, you got to come down to a situation like this. And it did remind me a little bit of the Houston game all over again. I wasn't happy with I'm happy with the outcome. I wasn't happy with the process. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, it really did feel like the Houston game. I said that over and over throughout the game. Like, in that Houston game, West Virginia felt like they were really dominating that game. They ended up being down at the half. Fortunately, here you were up at the half. The third quarter is very similar. You get down in the fourth. You have to battle your way back. West Virginia has to go almost the length of the field to take the lead at the end. And then you have less than 30 seconds for the other team to come back and answer. And it just set up just like the Hail Mary situation down in Houston. You just wondered, oh, my goodness, is this going to happen again? But it's not even that. And I think you hit right there with the 3-win thing. Like, had Neal Brown lost this game, that would have been 2 losses to teams that finished 4-8. Houston and Baylor now have a combined record of 7 and what, 15 or 16. I don't even know. I can't even think off the top of my head. But they won 7 games combined. You can't have these types of teams hang around, especially when their backup quarterback is in the game. And that, to me, is I think you look at the defense, and to me, Gene, I mean, I don't know about you, but it feels like this defense has kind of regressed over the last month or so. And I know they only gave up 21 to Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's one of those bottom feeder teams. You saw what they looked like against a real legitimate offense in Oklahoma, and they got boat raced. So, look, I mean, you can go back and say, they're without Trey Lathan, but Trey Lathan's been out for several weeks now. I mean, that's not an excuse anymore. These guys like Ben Cutter, Caden Bizer, some of these other linebackers that are fitting in there, they've got enough experience now to where that can't even be an excuse anymore. There's got to be more pressure up front. They've got to win more of those one-on-ones at the line of scrimmage. And right now, they're just not doing that.
Absolutely. Well, okay. So we win this game. We're 8-4. Now you're looking at who the selection will be as far as playing in a bowl, right?
Yeah.
depending on who that bowl opponent is going to be, if it's a legitimate team that's 8-4 or 9-3, you're going to get the best shot from a legitimate team that's 8-4 or 9-3, correct?
Yeah.
I want to see how we answer in that scenario. Because here's the thing. You can't tell me that a 3-8 Baylor team with a quarterback that can't throw from here to my window for 215 yards, 14 of 16, I believe, 215 and a touchdown. And no disrespect to him, my point is he's doing what we are allowing him to do.
Yep.
And the mark of a good football team is you get rid of these type of teams immediately. You don't even give them any oxygen. You don't even let them in a game.
Yeah.
We have to stop doing that. Like, to have a slow start is one thing. And I'm looking at the Georgia game. They're up 31-16 with Georgia Tech. They were having a slow start. But do you understand what I'm saying to you? They're up 31-16 with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what you have to do if you are that caliber of team. I'm glad we won. Don't get me wrong. I said in the early, like before the season started, you and I spoke, we would either be 9-3 or 8-4. That's what I said. And we finished up 8-4. So kudos to the fact that Neal Brown got 8 wins. It's the best he's done since he's been in Morgantown, and I'm happy for that. I just don't like the way we play when we're playing subpar competition and we let them hang around as if they're supposed to be on the field with us. And maybe that's me being a little bit too harsh. You tell me.
No, you're 100% spot on. And because I'll admit, I gave Neal a little bit of, I don't know if I want to say love or anything like that, but I mentioned a couple of times last week, like, look, if they win this game against Baylor, he should at least be in the conversation for Big 12 Coach of the Year. And I still wholeheartedly believe that, just because they picked this team to finish dead last in the conference, and then they wound up in the top 5 of the league with a 6-3 record. So you have to give the man credit for doing that. I don't care if they're playing Cincinnati, Houston, Central Florida. I don't care the strength of record, because going into the year, every one of those voters knew what the schedule was. They said they can't win these games. So Absolutely. That's why I say that he should at least be in the conversation for. I think Mike Gundy ultimately should be the Big 12 Coach of the Year for guiding his team to the Big 12 title after the start that they had of the season. But look, you know more than anybody, and you can go to bat for me probably just about as good as anybody when it comes to this. I've been super, super hard on Neal Brown since he's been here since 2019. Super hard, very critical. And I still remain that way because and to me, I'm someone that kind of takes results as they come, right? I don't look at kind of what happened the last few weeks. I don't look at what could happen. I'm just looking at the results as they go week by week. For the first 4 years, they weren't good, right? This year, it's kind of been a roller coaster. You win 4 of your first 5, you go through a little bit of a lull. You win the last 4 of your last 5. But if he'd lost this game, Gene, I think he's back squarely on the hot seat if he loses this game.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, there will be no reason to suggest or think anything other than that. If you lose this game, he should be on a hot seat.
Yeah.
But the fact that you go 8-4, and as you said, forget about what the so-called experts were saying, because they full well knew the schedule prior to, right?
Yeah.
And we were supposed to win 8 games. 9 games, whatever the case may be. We're supposed to finish last in the conference. So to finish, I believe 5th, if I'm not mistaken. I believe 5th.
Yes.
So to finish number 5 in the conference when you're supposed to finish last, that is kudos to Neal Brown, the coaching staff, the players, and everybody else, the support staff, the strength and conditioning, everybody that really brought into the vision he was trying to get them to buy into. Right. My only thing is this. When you play teams that are not on your level, we cannot play to that team's level. And we have a tendency to do that. Yeah. We have a tendency to not play up. We play down. And you can't continue to do that if you're trying to have an upward climb in this program. Now, this is a great way to go into a bowl. You're 8-4. You're 6-3 in a conference where you're supposed to finish last. But again, 8-4 overall. There's something to be said about that. I can't wait to see what bowl selection is going to look like and who we're going to be paired with. We have a chance to win 9 games. The first, since he's been in Morgantown, the first 9-win season in a long time. That has to be spoke about in a real glowing way. But once again, going into a game like tonight should never happen again. You're playing you blow them off the freaking field and you treat them like they're 3-18.
Last thing before we get out of here, because I think we're on the same page here. Going into next year, I think he's still not 100% safe through the end of his contract. Because look, you move up in the rankings, right? You move up in the standings. I mean, you're now 8-4. You could finish 9-4. Guess what that does, though? When you go from kind of a 500 to sub 500 team to all of a sudden, boom, in a year that you were on the hot seat, you get 8 to 9 wins potentially. That raises the expectations, Gene. You can't take a step back. I'm not saying this is going to have to be a consistent 9, 10, 11 win team for him to keep his job. We all understand how college athletics work. You're going to have these 3 or 4 year spurts. You're going to have a year where you fall back. But with the amount of talent that this coach has coming back potentially, as long as they retain everybody, there's no reason why this team should take a step back. So for everyone that is blasting the whole, oh, well, he's just lucky because he got the benefit of an easy schedule. He won 8 games. Well, guess what? He's not 100% safe moving forward. I mean, he's safe right now for 2024, but beyond that, there's no telling because we'll know next year. 2024, I think, will be the real telling year as to whether or not Neal is the right guy for this job because he's going to have all that talent back, we assume, and the schedule's not going to be as easy. So when we see those two things come together, we'll have a better read on Neal.
No, I agree 100%, absolutely. But I also say this. Going into, again, this offseason, barring him, we get everybody back, transfer portal don't kill us too bad, hopefully it won't. It'll be interesting to see how they're prepared going into this 2024 season, coming off of an 8-4, potentially 9-4, victories, winning 8 games, possibly 9 games, because that does raise not only expectation, it should for Mountaineer Nation, it should also raise the expectation for him and his staff. They should go in the next season expecting to win 9 to 10 games.
Yeah. Because
that, again, you win 8 games, listen, man, you got to win 9 to 10 next year. Like you said, Scholar, that's just what it is. This is a performance-laced business. This is big boy football. So we won 8, potentially, depending if we win a bowl, 9, then I expect to win at least 10 next year.
And the reason why we're so confident in saying that is because you have Garrett Green coming back at quarterback. You have Traylon Ray, Rodney Gallagher, Traylon Davis too, but Jaheim White. Like you have so much young talent coming back on offense. You have a bundle of guys coming back on defense. It would be different, I think, if you were losing some of those pieces and there were some question marks. And it would be a little bit bold, I guess, for us to say they should be expecting 8, 9 plus 10 wins next year. But when you have all this coming back off of this team, this has to be the expectation now. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the schedule. There is no road ahead because we don't know the road ahead just yet. We'll find out West Virginia's bowl destination and opponent next Sunday. But a look back on the 2023 regular season, 8-4, 6-3. Again, they were preseason picked to finish the league 14th. They get a top 5 finish in the league. They end the season the same way. They finish it winning 4 out of 5. And again, obviously that Houston game, which we've mentioned a couple of times, that's kind of the one you wish you had back, the Hail Mary, but you found a way to close it tonight. And it was a very similar situation from the halfway point of the game on and how those two games kind of played out. And I think the one thing I do want to mention this, Gene, and I want to get your thoughts right here before we get out of here. The play where Zach Frazier carries Hudson Clement over the first down marker, it stops the clock. Zach limps off the field. Brandon Yates comes in. Seamless transition, does a good job snapping, does a good job in protection. That can't be talked about enough and how smooth that transition was. That was a huge, critical part of the game right there.
Goes to show you what preparation looks like. Next man up, what it looks like. how you know that when a situation like that occurs, what that looks like. You can tell that that's been, I would dare say, not even maybe practiced, but when you know that if something happens, this is what your responsibilities are. I'm going to give a whole bunch of credit to Neal Brown and that staff for having these players prepared just in case that happens. It was seamless.
They had no timeouts, so it had to.
That had to happen, and it was perfectly executed.
Yep.
So no, I would give Coach Brown and the offensive coordinator, the line coach, all kind of kudos for that, because that could have went left so many different ways.
It very well could have, and that could have been a very bad ending to the game. And then we're sitting here talking about a whole different situation, probably more so about Neal's job security. So let us know about your guys' thoughts on this game, on this season, about Neal Brown in the comment section on YouTube. And once again, we thank you guys so much for tuning in each and every single week to the Mountaineers Now post-game show. We are not going away. We will have a Mountaineers Now post-game show for the bowl game as well, so we hope you tune in for that as well. But we want to say thank you for checking in all season long. Also, Chris has been doing the post-game with me for basketball, so we'll be having those out after every basketball game. And a huge thank you to Eugene. It's been a pleasure, my friend.
As always, yes, definitely. And let me say this. Listen, we have a star in Morgantown, West Virginia. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Jaheim White is something special.
He is.
He's
special. Better back the Brinks jump up for that kid.
Oh, my God. No doubt about it. He is something special, and I'm looking forward to watching the remaining part of his career in college sports, man. He is something different.
Yes, he is. Electrifying, and he's only a true freshman. He's only going to get better as his experience grows. So we're going to go ahead and get out of here, but we thank you guys again for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Mountaineers Now, and give us a follow on X at the same handle. So for Eugene Napoleon, I'm Skylar Callahan. Again, West Virginia winners 34-31 over Baylor. You've been watching the Mountaineers Now postgame show. We'll see you guys here later. Take care.